Hello there, this is Coach Stanley, chess instructor at the American International. I would like to present a lesson on chess tactics, intermediate and advanced. And I propose to look at two types of tactics, the windmill and the pin. Let's start with the pin. The tactic of a pin involves an arrangement in one straight line, which may be either a file, a rank, or diagonal, in which you have two pieces for one side and the third piece from the other side. Let's suppose we have a white king on d1, a white queen on d3, and then black plays a move such as this one, puts their rook on d7. Here's the alignment I was talking about. We have our three pieces in one line, two pieces for one side, where the piece on the other end is of the greatest value. Then there's another piece and the pinning piece from the other team. The point is the rook comes to attack the queen, and the queen cannot move away from this attack, because if it does, then it leaves the king in a check, which is an illegal move. Effectively, this is what we call a pin. And at this point, I would like to bring it out that we have two types of pins. There's a permanent pin, the current position on the board being one of them, but there's also a temporal pin. The new arrangement, the adjusted arrangement that I have, being a temporal pin. Let's suppose we have a white queen, which is worth 9 points on d1, white knight on d5. Even if, say, this is protected, it is pinned by the rook, and trying to take advantage of the pin. This is a pin in the sense that if this knight moves away from that square, then the rook will take the queen with a check, thereby gaining 9 points and almost deciding the game. So if that attacks the knight, if white chooses or decides to, they can still move. Unlike this being a temporal pin, white might choose to move this piece away even if it's pinned. And in this particular position, the knight can jump with tempo, going to f6, check, upon which even if the king goes to e7 or f7, the same knight just picks the rook that was attacking it, and white should win. Worse, if black made the mistake of trying to run away from that check by going to d8, in which case the queen will just pick the rook, and that is instant checkmate. Let's look at the next position. In a real game situation, the idea of a temporal pin might work out like this, and this is something that we need to learn and try and remember. Let's say white starts with e4, a very common move, and black does e5, knight f3, developing and attacking the pawn on e5, and say black decides to protect that pawn with the d6 move. White continues developing, bishop to c4, and black also develops, bishop to g4, pinning the knight. Here is our arrangement of a straight line, two pieces for one team, a more important piece on the other end. That is exactly what we're looking at. So black has pinned the knight against the queen. White just ignores that, continues developing, plays knight to c3. And now, in black's mind, he decides to push a pawn to a6, intending to follow up that with b5, chasing the bishop on c4. So black plays a6. And at this point, white plays the pinned knight on f3, capturing the e5 pawn. Knight takes pawn, exposing the queen to that attack. This is what a temporal pin might turn out to do. Most players in this position would straight away pick the queen. Bishop picks queen. However, this is a very big mistake, as it almost leads to an instant checkmate on a tactical basis, owing to the fact that white has developed a lot of pieces. Here is our knight attacking the f7, and we have a bishop also attacking there. White should just ignore the bishop that has captured his queen, take that pawn instead, check. Now, the black king cannot go to d7 because of that check from the knight, and he can't pick the bishop. It is protected by the same knight. He can only move to e7, after which the knight on c3 jumps to d5, and it's immediate checkmate. Just to quickly run through that one, the moves are e4, e5, knight f3, attacking the pawn, d6, protecting the pawn, bishop develops to c4, getting a very ideal diagonal aiming at the f7 square. Black decides to pin the knight. White continues developing, plays knight to c3, and then black tries to start chasing the bishop around. White gives up the queen by removing the pinned piece. Black picks the queen, then the bishop takes on f7, check. The king only has e7 to run to, and after the other knight jumps to d5, it's checkmate.